Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. We're gonna be doing a little cooking today. Here I am in my little office kitchen. We're gonna be making a recipe today. So I'm just gonna wait for a few of you to join and I'll tell you what we're gonna be doing. A little bit different setup today, huh? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. So, major issues on Facebook yesterday, kept cutting me off, wouldn't let the Q&A work. I am so sorry to all of you. You guys asked amazing questions. And I did repost the Instagram version last night. So if you missed yesterday, those folks over on Instagram asked some awesome questions, so thank you, and I did repost it. Now, I also did go through and read all the questions that you guys were asking, so I'm going to take a little bit of time after this recipe today to answer some of the questions that were asked yesterday that were not able to be answered. So thank you to all of you who still wrote those questions. I told you I'd come back to them, and I think I have 4 or 5 questions to answer, and I will absolutely do that after we make our recipe. So stick around if you were one of those people that asked questions and didn't get them answered, okay? So in my kitchen, I have a very hard time seeing questions. So I may miss it a little bit. I'll kind of scroll in a minute, particularly that Facebook camera way back there. So today, I'm actually going to be doing a drink, a mocktail that has some amazing health ingredients in it, very easy to make. I would absolutely have had my son out here making it with me. However, he is in online school, so it's just me. I have no assistant, but I'm very excited to show you guys. The recipe just went up yesterday at drpingle.com. And like I said, to you guys just joining, I'm going to come back and answer all those unanswered questions yesterday. Hopefully Facebook holds its own today and does not cut me off. Man, that was frustrating. And you guys were there too. You guys had some amazing questions. So anyway, I am Dr. Trisha Pingle. It's Friday, your morning checkup, and we're going to be cooking. Everyone out here in Arizona, particularly the central Phoenix area, is probably delighted today as we actually had rain last night. We had thunderstorms and rain, and what that means in the desert is that the temperature drops. Yes, we get a little humidity, but honestly, not enough to bother. We all have a little bit lower temperature today. We've got some cloud cover. I'm sure any of you who are out here with me in Arizona are in a great mood today because that 117 was getting a bit rough. So I'll take 110 or 112 any day over that. So happy Friday, mocktails. You're right. Now, for those of you that asked, does this have to be a mocktail? Could it also be a cocktail? Surely. I think I would probably lean towards, I always lean towards the plant-based alcohols if I'm going to add it to something like this. Agave tequila or juniper, which is gin. There are some grain-free vodkas and such like that. It would probably be great with rum as well. But if you're one of those that wants a happy hour cocktail, you can make this as well. So some of this I did make ahead of time just for ease, simply because in my office kitchen, I don't have a stove. So I couldn't really do the whole recipe, but hopefully you'll get the gist of what I'm going for. So this is a blueberry mocktail. I do have a live coming up strictly on blueberries, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it, but they're loaded with antioxidants, okay? Great food for you, right? Colorful berries are always good. Anthocyanins, to be specific, are found in blueberries. So we have blueberries in our cocktail today. We also have apple cider vinegar. For those of you that were here for the apple cider vinegar live, you've learned all about how awesome this apple cider vinegar can be. This would be a great drink to do in the morning. You can really do it anytime. It's wonderful, but it's full of apple cider vinegar, blueberries, okay? It's got a lot of power and some mint. Yum, yum, yum. So let me tell you what I did. Just to remind you, for those of you that don't know much about apple cider vinegar, it has a great amount of beneficial bacteria. It helps digestion. It has antimicrobial properties. Apple cider vinegar is a great thing to work into your routine. So if we can do it here in a cocktail, why not, right? Okay, pardon me, sometimes my scroll doesn't work so much. There we go. All right. This whole iPad and iPhone adjustment here. Just realized you guys were in my Facebook view. There we go. All right, so let's get moving. So the first thing I did is I took blueberries and mint and chopped them up. It's about 1.5 cups of blueberries. You could use a frozen organic blueberry as well because we're gonna put them on the stove. I used fresh today because I happen to have them, these big jumbo organic blueberries. So you're gonna cut up about 1.5 cups of blueberries, just kind of mash them up, and about 1/4 cup of mint, okay? You're gonna put it in a saucepan with 2 tablespoons of coconut sugar and 1/3 cup of water. And you're gonna bring it to a boil and reduce it to a simmer, maybe about 5 to 7 minutes. And what that does is it makes a syrup. So then what you do, I put a little strainer over a cup here, cool the mixture down, pour it through the strainer. So now you have a syrup on the bottom and you have this beautiful mint sugar blueberry mixture on top. Now, you may be tempted to discard this beautiful mixture. I say don't, because you can add it to chia pudding, you can add it to oatmeal, yum. So I'm actually gonna save that and I'll put it in a little cup or a jar and use it later. So this is basically a blueberry syrup that has been decocted and boiled down. You can do this with any fruit, okay? Today we're using blueberries. You could do it with strawberries, raspberries, I mean, honestly, anything to just make some sort of syrup. Now, speaking of chia puddings and oatmeals, just for the future, if you're not making this particular drink, you can pour stuff like this over chia pudding, over oatmeal, over granola, over a dairy-free ice cream, whatever. So this syrup can be very handy. You can also make it ahead of time, refrigerate it. I believe it'll stay in the fridge about 7 days before you have to worry about it. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll make 4 or 5 cups of some sort of syrup and then just keep it in the fridge and pour it over things, right? All right, I see some questions, yeah. So we have our syrup, which I'll put here. We have apple cider vinegar. It's about 6 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar divided between 4 servings. So it's about a tablespoon and a splash, okay? If you're sensitive to apple cider vinegar, you don't like it, you're not used to it, you can go less or more, okay? I'm just approximately a tablespoon and a little bit more in each one. And then it calls for soda water. Well, I didn't have soda water today, but I did have a lemon sparkling water, which is just as great. So anything sparkly, okay? You want something sparkly, all right? And it's gonna be as simple as this. Can you guys all see, hopefully, somewhat? Let's see, let's move Instagram back a hair. There we go. So I have 4 cups here. We're just basically gonna add a little bit of syrup to each, about a tablespoon or so of apple cider vinegar to each, top with the sparkling water and add some sprigs of mint, and we're done. Okay, now for those of you just joining, we can make the syrup ahead of time, right? I did. I couldn't make it in front of all you guys, so I made it ahead of time. Easy, keep in the fridge, no big deal. Having a barbecue, make it for the kids. You can put some gin or tequila on the side for you adults if you want. So let's just put a little bit in each. Now I could measure this, right? But that wouldn't be quite as much fun, so I'm just kind of eyeballing it. I should have my kids out here to try this, huh? All right, always shake your mother apple cider vinegar. Remember, you want the one that says with the mother. Oopsies, that's a bright light over there on Facebook, sorry. With the mother, okay? And I'll do just about a tablespoon. It's basically a tablespoon and a splash, so. How many of you actually add apple cider vinegar every day to your diet? Many of you, have you incorporated that? I do, I love it. And then we're just gonna top with some sparkling water, really to taste. Depending on how strong you want the syrup. Whoopsies, I'm running out of water. Some of these are gonna be less than others. That's what happens when you eyeball, folks. So one didn't quite make the cut. That's okay. What are you gonna do? All right, little sprig. And then I do have some leftover blueberries, so you can even top those, put a few of those inside. All right, so that's it. Easy. So the mint definitely comes forward, especially in the nose, which is great. So the mint also has digestive ability, like carminative. So like if you've ever, had a really full stomach and someone said drink some peppermint tea, same type of thing. So the mint actually has medicinal quality as well. So not only do you have the apple cider vinegar and the blueberries, and of course water, which is always good for us, and then some mint is quite good. So that's a really simple recipe. It is at drpingle.com. It is the weekend, so you might as well, and it's summer, so might as well have a little fizzy drink this weekend. I'd love to know if you guys try it, what you think of it. I'd love your feedback. In fact, all of my recipes, if you guys try them, shoot me a picture, post it on the thread. Let me know what you think. And it's okay if you're honest, you're like, well, I'm new to plant-based, not really sure I like it, it needs to be sweeter, whatnot. Let me know. Now you could also, for those of you that maybe can't do coconut sugar, this has a little bit of coconut sugar in the syrup. You could use maple syrup, you could use honey. I'm sure you could use a sugar substitute. I haven't tried it with that. I have no doubt that it would be fine. This is not a very sweet drink. It only has 2 tablespoons of coconut sugar per the entire thing of syrup. So it melts down. It's not a very sweet syrup. But you could alter that if needed. Okay? Great. Now, I've made this drink, and like I said in the beginning, I feel so awful about yesterday with Facebook cutting out during the Q&A that I have the questions here that I was unable to answer. So I'm going to take a moment to answer those because you guys show up, you bring these questions, and then technology goes, right? So I had a question about testing cortisol levels and how I test cortisol levels. So this can be done in numerous ways. Many people are familiar with the saliva test where you do 4 different samples of saliva. Now, I've used that test, okay? But in the way, after doing years of practice, first of all, I can pretty much identify adrenal fatigue when someone walks in the door. So I don't always need to know exactly where their cortisol levels are all the time. So I will often just use a simple serum cortisol test. Now, if I'm looking for severe adrenal insufficiency, or if I'm concerned about adrenal tumors or something like that, yes, I will totally use different testing more often. But if I'm simply just looking, is the body under stress, I can run an AM serum cortisol in next to a DHEA, sex hormones, thyroid, including reverse T3, nutrient panels, things like that. And I can pretty much tell you, based on that from your symptoms, where you're at. I mean, the bottom line is all of us have some degree of adrenal fatigue. So giving herbs for the adrenal glands in the morning to wake them up and giving them herbs at night to calm them down is usually quite successful, and you don't have to go through taking these multiple saliva samples. So for the person who asked about if you can do serum testing, blood testing with cortisol, if you have someone trained that understands the biochemistry, absolutely. If you have someone that isn't so sure or doesn't do adrenal fatigue that often, they may have to do the saliva test because they may need more information. I just have found that I don't really have to do that anymore. I can usually figure out the treatment without it, but you can test it both ways. I think you were saying that you didn't have the saliva test available in your country. So in that case, you do the serum. Would I do 4 serum samples? Probably not, unless you're really kind of erratic, where I feel like I need that information to be able to adjust treatment. Often I don't. So I just want to know, are we depleting DHEA? Is DHEA high? Are other sex hormones out of balance? Is the thyroid out of balance? How are the magnesium levels? Those types of things. When I look at all that collectively, how's the gut health, all of that, I usually can come to a determination without having to do that serial testing. So hopefully that helps you on that question. I do appreciate that. Hopefully that helps many of you. I had another question yesterday that was missed about how to treat or impact non-alcoholic fatty liver. Fatty liver does happen. It happens quite a bit. It can happen as a result of diet. It can happen as a result of genetics. Typically, how I treat it can vary as well, depending on if the liver enzymes are high as well. So if you have normal liver enzymes, but you just have fatty liver, a lot of the time, simply just doing lifestyle, diet, weight loss, very important, exercise, very important, and just monitoring it, very important. But you can also add in some nutrients for the liver. Definitely I'd probably say an activated folate, perhaps some B vitamins, minerals, and then maybe some herbs like milk thistle. Now, if I need to get more aggressive, let's say that the liver enzymes are going up, sometimes that plays how strong I can push it. If the liver is really taxed, I can't push it too hard. So sometimes that's done in phases. So that's kind of hard to explain over social media. But you can use things like methionine, which is an amino acid. You can do some sort of juice detoxification diets. Bottom line is you want to put less stress on the liver so it can repair. Okay? So the cleaner the diet, the better the lifestyle, the more herbs that gently clean it out, detoxify. You need to look for, are there other things in the body that are loading toxins into the body? Exposure to metals, exposure to environment, is there any medications that might be aggravating the liver? Those types of things need to also be removed. So hopefully that helps you out. I did have a question about coming off Humira. I believe that was from Kelly. I'm gonna take a little sip of my cocktail here. Humira is a tough one. Right, it's an autoimmune drug, has a lot of side effects. It's difficult to come off of. You definitely need to be working with your doctor. I did write in some suggestions for you, Kelly, as far as really looking at the lifestyle component, the diet, the gut health. It might be worth doing good, full gut testing, nutrient testing, because you want to make sure that your nutrients are really high. Your lifestyle is totally in check when you start to back off that Humira. You probably will have some sort of withdrawal, so the cleaner everything is, the better. One of the things I didn't write back though yesterday, Kelly, was possibly nutrient IV therapy, particularly with magnesium. Might want to talk to your doctor about that because that can kind of relax the muscles and such. Depending on why you're on the Humira, I know they use it for ulcerative colitis. They also use it for rheumatoid arthritis. There's a whole bunch of different reasons. You want to make sure that you're supporting the nutrients associated with the loss from that autoimmune condition. And go really slow. Just go slow. Listen to your body, okay? Anytime you're trying to come off a medication with your doctor's supervision, listen to your body, okay? Sometimes people go too fast, sometimes they go too slow. You have to everyone's different, okay? I hope that helps. That's a really complicated one to answer because it's so individualized. So hopefully that gives you some answer. I had another question. I can't recall your name. I'm so sorry. It was a gentleman who wanted to know when to take his multivitamin. It depends on the multivitamin. I take a food-based one that doesn't wake me up. So I like to take mine before bedtime because that's when I'm repairing and resting. So I like to bring a whole bunch of nutrients into my body at night. Now, if you're taking some of the multivitamins that people take, wake them up. They're jittery, they can't sleep. In that case, you might want to take it during the day. I do usually recommend taking a multivitamin with food. As far as with your other medications, I think you were asking about aspirin and cholesterol. Really depends. I would talk to your doctor about that. Depends on the medication, depends on whether certain nutrients will interfere. I typically recommend doing it separate from those just for ease. Not to say that they interrupt or cause a problem, but just to keep it separate. If you're suppressing the system somewhere, you lift the system somewhere else, right? But hopefully that helps. I did have a question which I could probably go on all day about regarding depression. Let me scroll up here, sorry guys. Regarding depression and ways to treat depression naturally as opposed to with medications. Depression's a big one, so I'm going to give you a list of stuff to consider, with your doctor and to talk about. Number one, without meds, I think this person was saying they were using medical marijuana, which helped, but they were worried about the long-term impact of that. And I agree, right? I think MMJ definitely has its place in medicine, just like any other medicine. I think it can be incredibly valuable for some people. However, if you're using it to kind of escape from the depression, long-term, that might not be the best situation, right? You've got to repair the body because it does also provide some toxin level to the body. I mean, any medication does, right? So what I would look at is using amino acids. So maybe do full nutritional panels on amino acids and vitamin C, B vitamins. B vitamins and vitamin C and essential fatty acids are critical to the management of depression in the natural world. Often we also add amino acids. Taurine, tryptophan, you might have heard of 5-HTP are some of those that are added in. All of these are individualized, okay, because everyone's different. One area of depression that I find very common that you should absolutely talk to your doctor about is the MTHFR mutation. I'm not going to give you the full name of that. If you want to read about it, go to my website, type in HFR, and an article will pull up. It has to do with the activation and the methylation of B vitamins. When you methylate B vitamins, it helps with mood. If you have a mutation in here, which is very easy to check via a simple saliva or blood test, you won't be using your B vitamins well. So often that results in depression. And you see that when I see that a lot when I have depression that runs through families, okay? My family has the MTHFR mutation. I have both, so I have trouble methylating in general. Luckily, it didn't result in depression for me. However, many of my family members on my dad's side had committed suicide and had been manic depressive and had troubles like that. I do think my plant-based diet all these years gave me enough folate, enough activated folate to avoid that symptom, which is great. But once I did do the genetic and found it, now I supplement with additional methylated folate. That is something that I would definitely look at if you suffer with depression. Make sure you're getting those nutrient levels up. IV therapy is also great for that. Probiotics, gut health. Pay attention to the gut health, okay? Are you digesting well? Are you eating good food? Are you getting good bacterial flora? Bacteria communicate with our brain. Okay, so you want to make serotonin, you got to have good gut bacteria to do so, okay? Stress management also needs to come into play. So we always play in with depression. You have to look at the entire endocrine system. You have to look at stress, you have to look at the thyroid, you have to look at the nutrient profiles, what's required to make serotonin, dopamine, epinephrine, norepinephrine, do you have too much or too little of what, and then you treat with that. In the meantime, I realize you're using the MMJ. That probably lifts your mood. It lifts pretty much everyone's mood, right? But it's not fixing the cause. So if you're going to use that, you also want to be fixing the cause, okay? So that if you don't use it, you have the tools to manage your own mood. So that was a very long answer to a question. I promise you I'll do more lives on that. I get that question a lot. And definitely look into mindfulness, mind-body techniques, things that allow you to kind of be in the moment and in the now, okay? Yeah, I'm just reading some of the comments to that. Okay, and there was another question I missed yesterday, and I think that was it, about a body not healing from Depo, from a Depo shot 10 years ago. Now, Depo is a hormone shot. I've definitely seen damage from it. However, you know, how do I say it? We can blame the Depo, and that's fine, and it may have been, but the bottom line is you have to do the investigation to find what it did. Okay, so let's say you had some sort of medication, caused a reaction, and now you've had symptoms for 10 years you can't get rid of. You can't get rid of that past Depo shot, but you can look at all of the things it might have done. Did it deplete? Just similar to the question I just answered. Do you have the MTHFR mutation? Is it possible that you're having trouble with methylation? And when you inserted a huge hormone shot, now all your methylation pathways are off. Is it possible that you could be low in vitamin C, vitamin B? Are your gut flora okay? Did it mess with your gut flora? I think if someone presents to me with that concern, it would be a lot of investigation, a lot of genetic investigation, gut flora investigation, nutrition investigation, and then slowly building that back up over time. That's really what I would do. I don't think you can reverse the drug, but you can optimize the pathways that it impacted. So my best advice to you is find a doctor near you that can start to investigate what it did. Usually I find people who have trouble with hormone therapies have some sort of MTHFR mutation. Almost always are some sort of liver detoxification issue. So check that out. I think those were the main questions I missed yesterday. I'm so sorry, guys. Like, that technical issue was so frustrating. And Instagram, you held your own. You guys asked great questions. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the replay. I do see some people talking about MTHFR and their family. Yeah, absolutely. You know, do I need a multi-daily? You know, I usually recommend most people, if they're not eating a really nutritious diet, should do a multi. If you're eating a really nutritious diet, you have great digestion, you don't have any health problems, a lot of the times you can maintain that with just diet, so. All right, so we did a little recipe today, our little blueberry cocktail, Mocktail here, and answered some of those questions from yesterday. Thanks again, guys. You guys are awesome. Not only, you guys were even sharing the 1-minute Q&A video yesterday that got cut off. So you guys are great. Thanks for tagging your friends. Thanks for sharing. Thank you for following. Thank you so much. Lots of exciting stuff coming. Keep checking out drpingle.com. I'm posting about 3 articles a week. continue to do my lives. I do have a live coming up on blueberries themselves. Also, I've had a lot of questions about zinc. I do have a zinc live planned this month. Might be a week or two out. It's coming, I promise, along with a zinc supplement. A lot of you have been asking me about that. So lots of cool changes over here at Dr. Pingle. But thanks to all of you again for following. I hope you have a great weekend. I'm going to go pass my little drinks off to my family as they're doing their schoolwork, and cheers my husband, and enjoy this somewhat cooler weather today in Phoenix. So thanks to all of you guys. Have a great day. I will see you Monday, same time. Okay? Bye.